All right, and welcome back to the Net to Net podcast. I'm your host, Casey Kurtz here, along with my co-host, Sam Kelty. Today, we're here to talk about a lot of things football, including the recent international break, how Real Madrid and Barcelona are doing, and about our beloved Columbus Crew, how we fare going into the playoffs coming up here soon in October. We'll start off here with the Nations League. There were a lot of games over the past few days, most notably being the Cristiano Ronaldo scoring for Portugal against Lewandowski and Szczesny. Spain pulling a 1-0 win against Denmark, with Zubimendi scoring the goal there. A few injuries going on, like Lamine Yamal. But we'll get into that in a minute. Sam, I want to get to know what your game of the week has been.
Yeah, I would have to definitely go with the upset. I think that everybody was talking about was the Greece beating England at Wembley over the weekend. I think that was probably the biggest upset, especially what the tragic news that came over from Greece, a former player that plays in the Greek league, died, and it was a weird experience because it was Greek playing England. The guy played in England for Sheffield United, and then the Greeks player scored and tributed it to Baldock in a historic upset over in England. And this is an England team that has no coach. Lee Carsell is the interim coach, which he has said he does not want to become the full coach. He likes working with the under-21s. There is reports that Thomas Tuchel could take over, but I think that was the biggest game just because of the upset factor of Greece not being as big as England, and when you win against one of the big boys in international football, especially England, and in England at Wembley, I think that's a pretty big accomplishment.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree that, especially, I mean, thoughts and prayers go out to all the family. I mean, the family affected and everything, and obviously the Greek national team felt the impact of that. So I was actually very happy that they were able to score and tribute that to the former player. And going on to win as well is pretty historic, especially against a team like England, which they haven't really had any success against previously. But on that note, we'll move over to my game of the week, and that would be Portugal versus Poland, the class of the getting up there in age, but players of the ages striker edition. Ronaldo versus Lewandowski. Can Ronaldo still lead the Portugal national team to glory? Can Lewandowski lead Poland to some silverware for the first time? But in this game, it was Cristiano Ronaldo show, honestly. He played a lot better than people gave him credit for. A lot of people were saying he shouldn't have even been in the squad to begin with. So he ended up playing. He ended up scoring in the 37th minute, giving them the lead, or putting them up 2-0 with Bernardo Silva scoring the first goal. They ended up winning 3-1. And that mostly is because the play of Portugal, they just have weapons at every single position. It's really hard to line up against a complete team. I mean, you look at Rafael Leao, they have Bruno Fernandes, they have Neto, they have Bernardo Silva, they have Neva. Like, they have players in every position where it's like they should be one of the top 10 teams in the world. And it's honestly kind of cool and commendable to see Ronaldo still leading the front line, even with Diego Jota scoring so many goals recently and playing well for Liverpool. Them top of the table as well in England. Um, Sam, what are your thoughts on this game? You think Ronaldo has what it takes to continue leading Portugal in the front line?
Yeah, I think so. This is a Poland team that doesn't have the same firepower as they once did. No more Chesney in goal. He retired after the Euros.
Right.
Now it's just Lewandowski and Ziyech. But yeah, Portugal, they have firepower. I think as long as Ronaldo can keep scoring at a high level for club and country, should be in the starting lineup. The players around him, I think it's a different Ronaldo. So you're definitely gonna not have the pressing that he had back then. The movement is different. He is now more of a poacher inside the box. If we watch their Ronaldo's goal, it was really Liao. Liao won the ball and then just went straight. He's very quick, very silky through that Polish defense and midfield. And actually, Liao probably should have scored on the goal. He hit the post, and Ronaldo was there to finish it up. That's what you're going to see a lot from Ronaldo nowadays. This team, like you said, Portugal is very good. It's interesting to see Roberto Martinez giving Renato Vega, the young Chelsea defender. I believe he is only 21 years old. His first start in a Portuguese uniform, which is commendable from what he's done at Chelsea. He's played very well as an outside back for us, and now he's playing in the national team, playing alongside Ruben Diaz, where it was really Pepe and Ruben Diaz for a very long time. But like you said, I think Ronaldo will keep starting because, yes, Jota is very good for Liverpool, but for some reason, whenever he plays for Portugal, he doesn't score as many goals like he does in the Premier League. And really, honestly, this Premier League season, he only has 2 goals and 2 assists. It's not like he's scoring unbelievably like he did
He's
in
very
some.
timely though on when he
Yeah.
scores. Like he's timely, he's in the right spot at the right time. But I
Mm-hmm.
mean, when you have Ronaldo, who's just he's a big guy. Like he's that's what he's mastered really is poaching.
Yeah.
And now that he doesn't have his legs under him as much, he's still able to do that. He's able to score with the best of them. So
Mm-hmm. I think, yeah, and it comes down to how smart you are and how your IQ is. He is a player that has to use more of that soccer IQ than his physical abilities nowadays, just because how old he is. But if he keeps this up, I shouldn't see why he shouldn't be in the World Cup squad in 2026.
you think he'll still be there?
Yeah,
You think he'll make
uh,
the squad?
yeah,
I could see it, yeah. But I mean that's what a year and a little more than a half away.
yeah.
Summer of 2026. So he
At
will
that
be what
point,
41 at that time? Is that right? He's
yeah,
39 now. Yeah.
41, 42. Um, I think he'll be there. I don't think he'll start. Um, and I think he knows that, but I think he'll be there.
Yeah, I could see it. I guess I hadn't really thought of the fact that he really it's not surprising actually. He would want to go and play for Portugal just because how dedicated he is to playing soccer and everything.
I think
Um,
I think he pulls it. I think it's going to be a Zidane situation. He goes to Portugal, plays in the World Cup, and then retires after that. Like his
yeah.
final game will be for Portugal, and he will be there. I think Messi will also be there for Argentina, starting. Maybe, maybe
I
not.
think
It
Messi will
just
start, yeah, I think.
depends on. It will depend on
They'll start him. It's
how he
Argentina.
plays. But still, you have those young players for Argentina. You're gonna want to probably go younger, someone that can actually move on the pitch as well. Because Ronaldo and Messi do the same thing; they kind of just walk around because they
Sure,
can't
yeah.
really run, and especially at a high level in the World Cup. I don't think Messi's gonna be what 39.
He's 37 now, so he'll
Yeah,
be
he's
30. I think he'll be 38 or 39. Yeah.
He's 2 years younger than Ronaldo. So
Yeah.
whatever he said Ronaldo was gonna be, so minus that by 2, so 38.
I think he'll be 39 or 38, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think Messi will start. I don't know if Ronaldo will play, but if he does, more power to him. And obviously, he's going to want to be there regardless. This is like Portugal's the only thing he's really playing for at this point now. And I mean, Saudi League and everything, cool, but Portugal. That was what he said his dream was, to have the Portugal national team win the World Cup. So I would love to see him make a run. I don't think Portugal will win it by any means, but I would love to see an Argentina versus Portugal and a Messi versus Ronaldo like in the knockout stage. That would be sweet.
I think Portugal is I think by 2026, I think they're still one of the favorites. I don't think outside of maybe England.
But I don't think they win it. Yeah,
I think they could.
You still have France. You still have Spain.
Spain, yeah. I would say the top favorites would be Spain.
Germany's top, dude. They have a lot of great players. Come on, bro.
Outside of Musiala and Wirtz, you have no striker.
Oh man, they'll pick someone out in the street. They have Musiala and Wirtz to ping him the ball.
no more Neuer.
Hey, Ter Stegen.
If he's ever healthy enough to play for them.
That's true, I guess. Yeah, I still can't believe he got hurt. But moving on to our next game, Spain Denmark was another key moment in this international break. Spain ended up winning 1-0 on a Zubamendi goal in the 79th minute. Spain, actually, they didn't look as good as they have previously. I mean, going back to the Euros, they just looked dominant in every single game. But in this one, although they did have 25 shots compared to Denmark's 3, they still weren't able to score like they have previously, like they were able to in the Euro, just put away chances. Now they obviously had no Rodri, they have no Carvajal. They're missing a few key players. Pedri only played 62 minutes. Morata played 78. Jose Lu got in. I mean, you are missing quite a few players. Lamine Yamal comes out with a knock at the end of the game.
No,
I still believe in this team. I think they're going to be one of the favorites for the 2026 World Cup. But Lamine Yamal, man, that's killer. If he's actually injured, it was reported that he had a knock and that he was, I guess, being overworked by Barca and by Spain. The MRI test had confirmed that it wasn't a major injury or anything like that. But I would assume that he's going to get some rest. He did get sent back to Barcelona. But Sam, what are your thoughts on this game, and how do you think Lamine Yamal is going to fare in the next few weeks or so?
Like you said, this is a different squad a little bit from the Euro squad. Like you said, no Carvajal, no Rodri. Morata's just coming back. Morata's just coming back from injury. He's he got a knock at AC Milan a few weeks back, so he's just getting back in. We saw no Unai Simon. We saw David Raya this week. So a different team. Definitely Grimaldo starting and Pedro Porro. Spain's just going to be heavy. If they can have all their players together, like the same players that they always have, like at full strength, they'll be fine. I wasn't too worried about this game. 1-0 win. Nothing to be over alarmed about. From the Lamine Yamal standpoint, if he is actually out, that's a huge loss for Barcelona because he is pretty much their playmaker. And I think the football federations for pretty much every club are probably going to have to rethink this whole schedule for football in general. We've seen multiple people come out and speak about it. We've seen Danny Carvajal speak about it, gets injured. Rodri spoke about it, gets injured. Who's the third one? There's another big person that got injured for a while. I can't remember. But they are playing way too many games, I think. You're adding more games into the Champions League. You're adding less time for a break and rest because you have your club football, you have your domestic competitions, you have your Champions Leagues, Europa League, Conference Leagues, and then once you're done with that, every so often you have the international breaks that are just smack dab in the middle of the seasons, and then adding extra tournaments such as the Club World Cup in the summer, now actually being more of a competitive tournament. You're overworking your players, so they have to find a common ground. If that is adding more roster sizes, if that is cutting back on some of the tournament size games. I know they want to make money. I know all the federations want to bring in and grow the sport. And then the constant traveling to different places. And then especially going from, it's one thing to travel within Europe, but now going to, like, for example, Spain plays the Copa de España in Saudi Arabia. Club World Cup is in the U.S., so they have to travel to the U.S. That's like a 24-hour flight plus layovers, and then you're playing on artificial turf where you've seen big stars come to MLS and not playing in crucial games because they're playing on artificial turf. There's so much factors that go into the schedule. I think the teams need to, and the leagues and the federations need to come together and talk about that because of those issues we're seeing. Because we don't want to see, like, a lot of people, these big name players, big name teams, and we want to see them at their full strength. If we don't see them at their full strength, they lose money because no one wants to go to the game. Perfect example, when Messi doesn't play, no one goes to the games. No tickets in the other cities go down.
Drop
yes.
80-90% because, or like the ticket price at least drops, so they're not making as much revenue. So I mean, in the grand scheme of things, they want the players to be healthy too. It's a mutually beneficial thing. So, but I mean, yeah, like you said, a lot of players came out and said that there's way too many games. They're adding more games. The schedule is brutal for all levels, but more so when you're at the peak of football, and you're playing these Champions League games, and you're playing your domestic cups, and you're playing your league games every single week. And then when you're supposed to be having a break, maybe you get a week off or something, but you get pulled out to your country, and then you have 2-3 games in the matter of a week or two. Like it's quite a lot. I know it's a lot more than it used to be, especially for the older generations of football players. But I don't see them lowering the game amounts because it's all about money at the end of the day, and the players want to make more, sure. The clubs obviously want to make more, and the TV companies, they want to make more money. The leagues want to make more. Everyone wants to make more money. That's how it is. So I mean, I think the best course of action would be increasing squad sizes, making sure that there's more players who are available to play. Now, granted, on the other side is the coaches are going to need to know when to rotate the squads better. And are they really going to want to rotate their squad when it's a close title race at the end of the season? When players are more prone to get injured because they played 50, 60 games already that season. It's a hard equation to solve, but I would say more players on each team, and that would be the only solution, I think, because they're not going to lower the amount of games.
If anything, they'll add more stuff.
They'll continue to add more games, yeah.
I think it just depends on the coach. We see it. A perfect example is Enzo Maresca from Chelsea deciding not to pull up Cole Palmer for the Euro Conference League matches. They have to, and he said straight up, we have to protect him. Load management, because he is going to be called up to England. He is going to be playing in Premier League games. He's going to be playing in FA Cups and EFL Cups in the deeper runs. And then you're going to need him in the lot deeper in the season because we're in October. Seasons go until May, and usually that's when it starts picking up in April, March, and May. That's when you're like in the title race, or you're not. You're either fighting for relegation or fighting for promotion, or you're fighting for the title. That's where you'll need your players. And we're seeing it now with Real Madrid. Real Madrid's having injury crisis after injury crisis. Vinny got injured, pulled out of Brazil. Eder Militao pulled out. Rodrigo went. Jude went to England, but then Mbappe doesn't go to France because of injury. So there's Danny Carvajal gets injured. So there's a lot of injuries happening throughout soccer.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, you look at my team, Barcelona, too. We had Danny Olmo gets injured 3 games into the season. You have Gavi, who tore his ACL last season.
Ter Stegen.
Pedri was injured. Ter Stegen got injured. Frankie De Jong was injured in the beginning of the season. There was it's just counting now. Lamine Yamal, Araujo, like it just goes on and on and on, and it's like, when does the injuries stop? And obviously, injuries are always going to be part of the game, but how do we prevent those? And
Seeing a lot more.
even with the updated sports medicine and everything like that, the care that these guys get, the massages and like everything that goes into preparing them for these games, it's still too much. And you still see the long list of injuries per good team. Like you look at City, you look at Real Madrid, Barcelona, we all have injuries, and they just keep stacking up.
Yeah, like I would say that the uptake in ACL tears are huge right now. Like Bremer just went down a couple weeks ago for Juventus.
Mm-hmm.
He's having a great season under Thiago Motta. Goes down with injuries. Now they're scrambling to look for center backs. I know they've been linked to Sergio Ramos to come in and replace him at Juventus. But that you're replacing him with a 38-year-old player who hasn't played football since May.
Hey, we're talking about too many games. He's got fresh legs. That's
Yeah,
what they're thinking. We can play him a bunch of games.
But yeah, like we see it for the national team. Like just this weekend, the U.S. played their friendlies against Panama on Poch's debut, and now we play Mexico on the 15th at the Aztec Stadium, which we will be without Weston McKennie, Christian Pulisic, Ricardo Pepi, Zach Steffen, Marlon Foss, who are all headed back to their respective clubs due to load management. So usually that's supposed to be a big game between Mexico and the U.S. Poch gets a first taste of what the rivalry is between us and Mexico, but he's going to be without his captain and some key players. So that will be interesting, and that just factors into load management, into the heavy schedule that they have. Yes, it's their national team games, but it's also a friendly, so it's not like they're playing for something. Poch won't get a taste of that until next summer with the Gold Cup and the CONCACAF Nations League. But I did like what I saw from the U.S. against Panama. An interesting formation. We played a back three, which I was very concerned because we decided to play Joe Scally as the right center back, which was odd. We played Yunus Musa as the right wing back. We did get to see the former Crew player, Aiden Moore, start alongside Busio. Aronson and Robinson and Pulisic and Sargent played as well, as so did Matt Turner. Very interesting. We called in Weston McKennie, did not play. Unused sub, which was very odd. Now he's going back to Juventus, which he has been playing very well. But the long list of injuries that pulled out of the U.S. squad, you saw Balogun injured on the before international break. Timothy Weah pulling out due to injury. Johnny Cardoza pulling out due to injury. There's been so many injuries with the U.S. too. It's very interesting. Like Tyler Adams is still injured due to this long schedule. Cameron Carter-Vicker, Chris Richards, Serginho Dest, Gio Reyna. A lot of injuries, and it just comes to the fact that they are playing so many games. And I think they need to find something to.
I guess that begs the question now: is the burden of too many games or resting the players, does that fall on the clubs or does that fall on the country? Because in a lot of Barcelona spaces, they're blaming on Spain that Yamal got injured and that they're playing all of our Barcelona players too many games and so on. And the Spain coach comes out and says that, well, they have the players for 80-90% of the year. Why aren't they being rested at the club? We only have them for a few weeks out of the year. Like, why are we expected to rest them?
Mm-hmm.
Which is a good point. But, I mean, you look at it from both sides. who do you think it should be more, I guess, responsible for resting the players?
Clubs have all the power. They, like you said, have them for 80-90% of the time. Clubs can reject call-ups. We've seen it before. For example, Real Madrid, Mbappe wanted to play in the Olympics. Real Madrid said no. Real Madrid made a strict rule during the summer to either pick Euros or Olympics. You don't get to go to both. You only go to one. Clubs, I would say it's on the clubs and on the managers. But like we said earlier, it's all about money. It's all about revenue. And in sports, it's all about the revenue you gain. And and most people buy tickets, one, because they're fans of the game, and two, they want to see their favorite player. If their favorite player doesn't play, then why would I want to go to a game when I can just watch it on TV for free? You want to go to the game to see your favorite player play and do good and perform. That's why we go. And I could see the players going on strike, which they have talked about it before. Carvajal has said stuff about it. Rodri said stuff about it. De Bruyne has said stuff about it. Multiple players have said stuff about the grueling schedule. It all honestly always falls to the clubs and the owners and the managers and the backroom staff. If they're not fit to play, they're not going to play them. But it also does come down to the players. Like if they say they can't, they want to play. They keep saying they want to play, or they're playing, and they want to play. And we were former players when we were injured. We still wanted to play. I think it's the same way. It's can you dictate your own feelings from the game, and like yes, you want to be out there with your teammates, you want to be out there with your brothers, but at the same time, you have to realize you might you're going to get injured. You need a rest. And I think now we don't really see load management that much in European sports. In the U.S., we do. And I think now fans are starting to come around to that side of load management. We first saw it honestly, we saw it in football at the beginning, like NFL football. But it really didn't get much sense, like talk, until the NBA started doing it because with LeBron and all of them. But like it really started
in the Leonard, and all those.
It really started in the NFL because usually if you clinch the playoffs with 2 weeks remaining, you usually bench your starters for the last 2 weeks. So you see like the backups play in the NFL. But no one really said anything about it until LeBron and Kawhi get benched for 3 games in a row after back-to-back playing a week. So it's something that I think the Europeans have to adapt to. But it's going to take some time. But yeah, I think it does come back to the clubs. So it's going to be interesting how this all plays out.
Yeah, I completely agree. But we'll move on. Obviously, we could talk about that all day. Made a whole episode about that, honestly. But we'll move on to talk about Barcelona here, the league leaders in La Liga this season, with 9 games played, sitting at 24 points, 8 wins, 1 loss. So our schedule gets brutal once we come back. So our next 3 games are Sevilla at home, Bayern, and then Madrid, all in 1 week. All 3 of those games in the span of a week. So, and the Madrid games end Madrid as well.
Yep.
So we're gonna need a strong start coming back. And that's why I'm glad Lewandowski's in great form right now. I hope Lamine Yamal can be back for at least the Bayern game. If he misses the Sevilla game, I won't be too upset. But we need him for the Bayern and the Madrid game. Obviously, those are the two way more vital games.
It is.
We're getting Gavi back this week, so he should be able to play. Probably won't start, but we'll be back against Sevilla. So he'll probably come in. Frankie De Jong is getting back into form. We're getting Dani Olmo back probably in November, earlier November. So he'll miss these 3 games, but this is one of the vital stretches of our season. And it kind of sucks that we had to go on international break and ruin our strain of form. But we will see on how we do in these 3 games, and I'm very much rooting for us, obviously. And I honestly think we should rest some players against Sevilla because a lot of our top players went and played in international play. They all went to their countries. Um, so I would say that we rest some players against Sevilla. We let them take a break, and then they have 2 games in 3 days against Bayern and Madrid. And this, like I said, this is one of the key stretches of our season already. And beating Bayern, we have a lot of history going back there. And Madrid, we all know how vital El Clasico is. So, Sam, what do you think about this stretch for Barca, and how do you think we carry on through there?
That's a hard stretch. They got some tough competition coming up. Like I said, El Clasico is the biggest game, probably the biggest rivalry in European sports. It's up there. That's tough. I'm looking at Madrid's schedule, and we got similar stuff. We got similar pretty much because we play Celta Vigo. Then we play Dortmund in a UCL rematch of the finals from last year. And then 4 days later, take on Barcelona for El Clasico. And then after El Clasico, we'll have a couple days off because of the Ballon d'Or ceremony, so everybody's going to be there. And then after the Ballon d'Or ceremony on the 29th, the Saturday on the 2nd of November, we play Valencia. Then we play AC Milan in another Champions League. Then we play Osasuna Lagunas, where we probably can rest. And then on the 27th of November, back at Anfield, taking on Liverpool. So, tough games.
You guys have a tough month up ahead for sure.
Yeah, definitely with the injuries we've had. David Alaba is not going to be back until January. He was supposed to be back mid-November, which now got pushed back to 2025 of January. Vinny's out with a neck injury. It's day-to-day. He missed World Cup qualifyings. Eder Militao had a strain. He missed out on the World Cup qualifiers. Modric is at international duty. He's coming back from it. Rudiger, he's been at international duty. We lose Danny Carvajal, so now it's Lucas Vazquez. Mbappe's injured. Tchouameni's at international duty. There's a lot going on with Madrid. Bellingham, he's been injured most of the season so far, but he played for England this week, so it'll be a tough game. I think going into El Clasico, both teams are not going to be at full strength. Just with the schedule, just 4 days of rest.
I think both of our teams are going to be tired. I mean, I know Madrid won't be at full strength because you guys don't have Carnival, obviously, but we might have almost everyone back. We won't have Dani Olmo, but we should have almost everyone else back.
I don't think you'll have Szczesny. I don't think Szczesny will be ready still.
Yeah, he'll be ready.
I don't know if they can register him right now.
No, he's already been registered.
Has he?
Yeah, so he'll be playing. He'll probably be playing at Sevilla too, on the 20th.
He'll have to because he hasn't played since the Euros.
Yeah, we need to get some
game
time in.
Yeah, because Poland got knocked out in the group stage. He hasn't played probably since June. So that'll be interesting. Gavi won't play. If he does, he'll come off the bench. But yeah, it's not looking like I said. It's only 4 days of rest before El Clasico, which is the biggest game in world soccer. I'm honestly, if we walk out with a draw, I'm fine with that. To get a draw, I'm fine with that. With the injuries that we have, I would be.
We need to pounce. Barca, we need to pounce on this. We need to go into Madrid. While you guys still don't have a right back, I mean, you have Vazquez, but he's not traditional, I guess. Mm-hmm. You're a starter. Players are in great form right now. We got to carry on, beat Bayern, beat Madrid in the same week. That would be a dream. Think about that going into the season. If we would have said, yeah, we're going to beat Madrid and Bayern in the same week.
It's funny that we're both playing German teams.
Yeah.
In the UCL, the same weeks we played Dortmund rematch of the finals. Where
are you guys in Dortmund or is that Madrid?
I believe we are in Madrid for that one. Okay. I believe we're at home at the Bernabeu.
Yeah, we're at home against Bayern at least. We don't have to go.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, you're at home too. Okay.
Yep.
And then
Yeah,
you stay
because
home for Barca.
yeah, yeah, we're home for AC Milan too. We don't go back on the road until we're on the road for Valencia at Celta next week, and then Valencia on November 2nd. Then we have a home stretch for 2 games, and then in November we're away at Legunes and Liverpool.
Yeah, I mean it's a tough title race here that's going on. Barca at 24 points, Real Madrid at 21 points, Atleti at 17 points. Uh, both the Madrid teams have yet to lose this season. Real Madrid being 6 wins, 3 draws, 0 losses. Atletico Madrid being 4 wins and 5 draws and 0 losses. Barca 8 wins, 1 loss, no draws. So it's going to end up being a pretty close title race here. Barca's only up 3 points, even though we had such a great run of form in the beginning of the season. It could be a historic title race, and I'm looking forward to it. But we can move on here to our Columbus Crew, who are ending the season as second place in the Eastern Conference. At this point, we're basically just playing. So if we were to play against LAFC, that we would be, or maybe even if we get enough points, we could be above um, LA Galaxy as well if we were to play them in the championship. Uh, but right now, I would rather us rest our players for the last game of the season. We take on the New York Red Bulls on October 19th. Um, I think we should rest. They are a playoff team, but we already have second place locked up, and we need to make sure we're completely healthy, especially when we end up going against Miami in the playoffs. In Miami, that's going to be a brutal game. Um, I'm not as worried about Cincinnati as I was last year, but that's just because I think our team is another year together. We have a championship under our belt, and they're going to be coming to us this year rather than us going to them in the playoffs. Um, but the other teams don't really scare me as much, to be honest. I think we can beat any team in here. The only team it's got the GOAT on their team. It's got Luis Suarez, Sergio Busquets, and Jordi Alba, and that's Inter Miami. Sam, we'll go to you. What are your thoughts on Columbus Crew? Do you think that it's a failure if we don't win the championship this season? If not, what is a success for our season?
I think success is win the chip. That's a given. We are a
Mhm.
team that has played for pretty much we played for 4 trophies in a span of 12 months. Coming off the MLS Cup, getting to the CONCACAF Champions League finals, getting to the Champions Cup finals, getting the Leagues Cup finals.
Winning the League's Cup too.
Winning the Leagues Cup. We should win MLS Cup. I think yes, Inter Miami is a good team. Yes, they beat us for the Supporter Shield. But we're a different team in the playoffs. We've shown that we are a different team, a better team in playoff play. Miami, this is their first time playing in the playoffs, and there's no guarantee that they make it to MLS Cup from the Eastern Conference. And we talk about an Inter Miami team that has struggled in form outside of beating the Crew the month of September, sorry. They won 1 game and drew 3. Other than playing us and beating us, winning 3-2 was that game could have went either way from us. We could have won that game. They could have won. They won the game. We could have won it. We had chances. They just played a Toronto side, a failing Toronto side that's probably going to squeeze by in the playoffs. I still like our chances. So if things hold out, we could be playing either the Red Bulls or DC United in the first round of the playoffs. So it would be a best of 3 in the first round, which we do play the Red Bulls at the end of the season, so we can get a glimpse of what they are like. This is a Red Bulls team that has not been featuring Emmanuel Forsberg. He has not played for some time, which is very interesting to me that he has not really. He's been coming off the bench the last few times for the Red Bulls. He's only started 14 games, and he's only really played in 18 games. And he has 7 goals and 3 assists. I think he is their X factor from that time. The last time he went 90 minutes was in May. In May, May 29th was the last time he went 90 minutes. Outside of that, he's barely played. I don't know what's wrong with that picture, but you pay him that much money to not do anything is very interesting to me because when watching him, he changes the game. That will be the Crew's biggest test, stopping Forsberg, especially without Aiden Morse, who was that engine. I think if the season ended today, I think we still are the favorites to hoist MLS Cup. I think I honestly see a rematch coming. LAFC versus the Crew.
You think they're better than LA Galaxy?
I think it's the same thing that I just kind of mentioned about the Crew. They're a different team in the playoffs, especially when you bring in Carlos Vela, who they got back into this team with an Olivier Giroud. I think they have a chance to do it.
Yeah, and Belonga's on 19 goals this season, same as Cucho. So
yeah, both good. Like I said, the Galaxy, they're good. They're a good team, but they have their faults. And I think either way, we play, it's gonna go through Columbus. I could see a nice, lovely matchup in round 2. The Ohio teams playing up against each other again for another straight year, and then meeting Inter Miami in the conference championship against each other, and then we take home MLS Cup again, go back to back. I like our team. I would
love that. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Just that
lower chances.
A Messi Suarez duo. I'd say Messi's been in some more high stakes games than an MLS playoff, so I wouldn't worry about him being ready for a playoff, especially because the way he tore into a League Cup as soon as he got into the league, and how good him and Suarez have been this season. With them both healthy, they're the team to beat, unfortunately. Even though we are the reigning champions as of now, because the Eastern Conference goes through Miami until we beat them in Miami, or unless they lose to someone else, but I doubt that'll happen. But yeah, it would be a great match to see. I would. It's hard for me to say that it's a failure if we lose to them in the conference championship, though. If we
I
make
would say
it
it's a failure if we don't at least get to the conference championship.
Right. That's what I was saying. And like, if we make it there and we lose to Inter Miami, I'd still say we had a great season. We still won a trophy, but if we don't get there, we'll lose to Cincinnati, let's say. That's a failure of a season, even though we won a trophy. It doesn't matter.
Our benchmark is conference championship or bust.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the standard that the Crew have, and we have to enjoy it because this could be some of the last times we see Cucho play. I know they slapped a $23 million value on him, and there's a chance he leaves in January in the winter window because hot commodities usually leave in the MLS in January. We've seen it from Miguel Almiron. We've seen it from Zach Steffen. We've seen it from countless players, to name a few, leave for Europe. And so it'll be interesting to see. Interesting to see who comes in. There is reports that Antoine Griezmann is looking at MLS for next year. Paul Pogba could be coming in free agency in March due to his ban being appealed and one now deducted to 18 months. So he's eligible to play in March. Both LA teams and Inter Miami are also looking at him. Pogba did take a visit to Inter Miami about a month ago for the game.
That would be brutal.
Yeah.
That would kill us for sure. Even
Mm-hmm.
so, I think even if Kucha leaves, though, I think we're still a contender.
I saw the
Uh,
Crew were one of the teams interested in Paul Pogba.
we could use him. We lost
He's got
Aiden
the
Morris, and
got
if
the
we,
French
especially
connection.
we sell Kucho, we would have some good money to pay him on a weekly basis. So
Yeah.
I would say we maybe, and then we bring in, I don't know, another striker, another winger or something, because you could just put Rossi in Cucho's position, but we kind of need him. We kind of need a playmaker in that role, and that's
Mm-hmm.
why I think they brought in AZ, honestly, and Chambos in the past window, but
Yeah.
they're kind of preparing for
I
Cucho's
think
departure. But
I think Chambos can make a play to start next season. The way he's been playing the last few games, he looks pretty good.
yeah, he has been good.
I
He didn't
think
look good in
he
his first few, but he's been good
no,
recently.
it was always going to take him time to figure out his positions. But I like him. I like him more in the midfield with Nagby than I do with Sawatsky, just because it brings more balance to the midfield than it does because you're really more defensive with Sawatsky in there.
Yeah.
And they showed it. They've showed it multiple games. If you look at when they showed the heat tracker, like where on the picture you go, pretty much overlapping each other. Nagby and Zawatsky are kind of in like the same places. Aiden Morris was that guy that you know he can defend, but he was more box to box. Nagby could sit back. With Chambos, he can do that now, and just dictate the general play. And Chambos can run up and down the field. I
Right.
like him there, and he's very good at set pieces.
The
We
only
saw.
worry for me though with Chambos is I don't think he's as good of a defender as
Oh, he's not.
Zawadzki,
He's not.
and we lost that. The formula that works is uh, we had Nagby and we had Aiden Morris in the middle, and they both can defend and they both could track the whole midfield because it was just them two in the center of the midfield, right? Because they had
Mm-hmm.
Cucho up top, you had Christian Ramirez and you had Rossi going up top, but you would still have the two center mids that could both defend, they could both attack, they could play make, they could score. Like you could do all these different things. They're kind of jack all trades, right? But with Sandboss, I don't see him much as a defender, really, and
Yeah.
I don't see Zawadzki as an attacker. So it's kind of like a give or take sort of thing based on matchup. But I think for most teams, Zawadzki is a better play for that center of the midfield, just because he's able to defend. We kind of need that in front of a back three. And we also already have the best attack, or one of the best attacks in the MLS, with Rossi, Cucho, and Christian Ramirez. So I would say Zawadzki, but I see what you're saying with Chambos,
Yeah,
just
boss.
because he's been in great form. So I
Mm-hmm.
understand. But Paul Pogba though, he can
I'd
do
take Pogba.
everything. Paul
I'll take Pogba.
Pogba.
I would take Pogba in a heartbeat. Pogba's a monster. That guy's freaking tall. But yeah, I would. Yeah, I would say if we could swing Pogba, I think that would be insane. That would be a huge move. French connection between Nancy, obviously, and him. Morier, another Frenchman who played in Ligue 1. Or not French. Well, he's Cape Verde, but he can speak French from his time at Ligue 1. But yeah, I saw reports. It was like both LA teams, Inter Miami,
New
NYFC,
York, yeah.
and us. So,
Hey man, let's
but
let's
you never
let's
know
try and
because we
recruit.
were, yeah. Well, we were linked to James during the summer, and that never happened. So,
He shouldn't
Cucho,
have gone to the MLS anyways.
Cucho
I'm
tried.
glad he's in La Liga. So
Yeah, he looks better. Hopefully, he can just stay healthy and play well. I think that's James' issue. He just isn't great. He isn't the best for uh, club like he is for country. Him for
yeah,
country is like a different animal. So
true. Yeah, I mean, I think that about wraps up our episode though. Talked about a lot of different things: club football, national team, international football. Sam, is there anything else you want to add before we wrap up here?
yeah, we got NBA basketball starting here soon in the next couple
Mm,
weeks. Hopefully, you can get. We'll do probably a preview of that
yeah.
within the next couple weeks. I know I'm going to try to get some college football out to you guys Tuesday. To re-talk about what happened over the weekend because this was probably the craziest college football weekend this year, with the amount of upsets, the amount of big games that were going on, a lot of playoff implications, things like that. Conference championships on the line already this early in the season. So hopefully I can get that out, and then some NFL. I know haven't done a ton of NFL. It's just been too hectic. So I'm trying to get back onto that schedule. So hopefully we can get something going. But yeah, definitely keep on the lookout for those. Gotta give big shout outs to Duke, getting the Boozer twins next year. See if we can keep Cooper Flag for another year and get those boys together, because they go into their father's alma mater, and Carlos Boozer, who won a national championship with Duke. So huge prize. It was between Duke and the Hurricanes of Miami. Well, I wasn't worried that we weren't going to get those boys, but yeah, big ups. Big shout outs to my boy D Rose hanging up his shoes. We'll probably talk about that on the NBA
We'll
podcast.
talk about that. Yeah,
Definitely.
I know it's a big topic. Yeah, is
Big
he a Hall of
topic.
Famer?
Hey, Pete Maravich had a less percentage to make the Hall of Fame, and he's in the Hall of Fame. So, hey, and the nice thing is it's the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. It's not the Naismith Pro Basketball Hall of Fame. So you have to also look at what he did for Team USA, what he did for Memphis, and then what he did in the NBA, and it's as a whole. So I think the career, what he did for Team USA, what he did for Memphis, and what he did in the NBA, I think he deserves it, and you'll all find out when we start.
I know we'll talk about this on the NBA pod, but
yeah,
he doesn't have a gold medal. He doesn't have a gold medal, does he?
No, he does.
I don't think he does.
Rose? Yeah, he has two, I believe.
No, he does not.
Yeah, he does. I believe he does have. He has a gold medal. Let me look. He has 2 gold medals.
Oh, you're right. He does
for
okay.
FIBA. Yeah, he has them for FIBA.
Then he probably should then.
And also,
wait, they're not Olympic gold medals, so.
But they're FIBA. It's still an international.
I know. I'm playing. All right.
As he is an MVP, and no MVP that's won MVP has not made the Hall of Fame. He's also the youngest MVP and the youngest Rookie of the Year.
All right,
so
we'll save it for the NBA pod. We'll talk about it.
We will.
I know we could talk about this all day, but this has been the Net to Net episode of football around the world, including our teams, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Crew, and all the Nations League football as well. This is Casey Kurtz and Sam Kelty signing off. Peace.
Yep. Peace. See ya. Hopefully get this out tomorrow. Peace.
Yep.